from the betting capital of the world. Giving raw and real breakdowns of mixed martial arts and recapping UFC events like no one else, with producer Martin on the ones and twos and combat sports betting expert Effie. You're listening to Any Action Sportscast. Any Action Sportscast. So put your headphones on and let's take this podcast to the next level.
This isn't a podcast. It's a sportscast.
What is up, guys? We are back. It's your boy Effie with Any Action Sportscast, here to go over UFC Kansas City. Max Holloway versus Arnold Allen. We're coming off another profitable winning week where we won 4.14 units on UFC 287. That's 3 straight winning weeks, and we're going to try to make it 4 with this week. So do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let's get right into the fights. Right away, guys, we have money on the main event. I have 2 units on Max Holloway at minus 180 to defeat Arnold Allen. I think he's going to knock him out in this fight. Let's start with Arnold Allen, right? So he's 19-1, 10-0 in the UFC, coming in as a plus 145 underdog. He's 5'8 with a 70-inch reach. He's a very good striker, man. I will say, if you look at his resume more, though, like a little more closely, you can bring up like the F word. Is he a fraud? So against Dan Hooker, that's probably his best win, right? Dan Hooker was coming down to 145, had obviously a horrible weight cut, super tall huge for the division, and he gets knocked down in the first round by Arnold Allen in a very uncharacteristic fight style for Arnold Allen. In that fight, he just blitzed him. It was kind of wild to watch. He like threw all the technique out the window, which he usually is a very good technical fighter, and he just bum rushed him, right? And he wanted to get him out of there right away, and he did. Dan Hooker very hittable, and he obliged. He got in a battle, and the first guy to make a mistake got knocked out, and it was Dan Hooker. But Dan Hooker actually clipped Arnold Allen in that exchange. If he does anything similar to that against Max Holloway is going to step to the side and spark Arnold Allen. Like, I don't expect that at all. Which like, yeah, it was in London, it was overseas. Very uncharacteristic of Arnold Allen in that fight. And then he got another step up in competition against Calvin Kattar, right? So that fight happens. Only one round happens because Calvin Kattar ends up tearing up his knee, right? Not Arnold Allen's fault at all. Like, what can he do? But man, we didn't really find out much. Similar to John Jones versus Cyril Gane, it's like, yeah, John won and made it look easy, but what did we really find out about him at heavyweight? Like, it was like Calvin Kattar, that was going to be his first 5-round fight. I've never seen this guy go 5 rounds in the UFC, a step up in competition, as deservedly so. And he wins after 1 round, after a fluke injury. So it left me with like a kind of a bad taste, I guess, but it's not his fault. But like I said, yeah, a very, very good striker. But even against Sadiq Yusuff, right? Sadiq Yusuff, pretty good fighter as well. He let Sadiq outland him. Sadiq was the one pushing the pace and pushing the striking exchanges on Allen, but Allen was able to land the more powerful strikes and clip Sadiq Yusuff and land the more significant damage, and that's what won him the fight. Some very significant head kicks, some shots to the head from Arnold Allen won him that fight, and you could argue he was on his way to lose most of those rounds. Max Holloway on the other side, dude, what can you say? The king of fighting 5-round fights, the exact opposite of Arnold Allen. Could only lose to guys named Alexander Volkanovski, Dustin Poirier, guys like that. Coming off beating Yair Rodriguez in his last win. And in that fight, I will say, Yair Rodriguez looked better in the later championship rounds than I thought. I thought that, like always, Max Holloway was going to look good all 5 rounds. And Yair was the guy that hadn't had that experience as much and was gonna sort of fade, but Yair actually won those rounds and made Max Holloway start to shoot and make him a wrestler. Yair Rodriguez turned Max Holloway into a grappler toward the end of that fight, which is very surprising. He ended up going out and not looking very good against Volkanovski. That was 7 months ago, so taking some time off, very deservedly so. He's only 31 years old, where it feels like he's 50 in fight years because he's been fighting for so long. He's gonna be the taller guy, 5'11 to 5'8 in this fight. But dude, I just think it comes out to volume, experience. Max Holloway has both on his side. He's going to be able to win he's going to be able to get ahead on the numbers safely, in my opinion, to win a decision, right? And then I think he's going to be able to knock out Arnold Allen because he's very hittable. I just think that he's never fought, obviously, someone as good as Max Holloway. He's never had to go 5 rounds, and I love Max Holloway in this spot, man. I bet 2 units on him to win this fight. I am very confident, man. Step up a competition for Allen, and unless Max Holloway just comes out and just gets knocked the hell out in that first round, I don't see him losing this fight. The grappling, I definitely favor Max Holloway. Just everything, in my opinion, goes to Max Holloway. He's not as fragile. That's another thing. Arnold Allen's always getting hurt in or after his fights. He's taking a lot of time off. He's not inactive. He's not very active, and I like the more active Max Holloway, more experience. and go on and on about why I love Max Holloway. Give me Max Holloway 2-unit shot. Let's go, Max. Up next, we have Edson Barboza versus Billy Quarantillo. Barboza comes in 22-11, sitting as a plus 135 underdog. He is 37 years old, big red flag, 5'11 with a 75-inch reach. On the other side, we have Billy Quarantillo, 17-4, coming in as a 165 favorite, minus 165 favorite, 34 years old, which I was surprised at. I didn't expect him to be that old. 5'10 with a 70-inch reach. I'm going with the underdog here, guys. I'm picking Edson Barboza to win this fight, and it's for a few reasons. Listen, I get it. He's on a 2-fight losing streak. He's 37 years old, and he got his ass whooped in that last fight against Bryce Mitchell. Bryce Mitchell outstruck him on the feet, was a better fighter on the feet, and was a better grappler, obviously, and kind of mollywopped Edson Barboza. That was a very very bad performance from Edson there, and you're kind of probably surprised to hear me say that I think he's going to win. On the other side, Billy Quarantillo, yes, he finished Alexander Hernandez, right? He was losing that fight until Alexander Hernandez gassed out. I actually bet on Billy against Alex, and he wasn't looking so great in that beginning of that fight, guys. If it wasn't for Alex Hernandez having no cardio, that would have been a very iffy fight. He's very hittable. Before that, lost to Shane Burgos, where in that fight, guys, he had to shoot 14 takedowns because Shane Burgos is a very dangerous guy. Shane Burgos made Billy Q uncomfortable and made him, shoot a lot, and got stuffed on every single takedown attempt. I think Edson Barboza has good enough takedown defense. I think the same exact thing happens in this fight. I think Edson makes him uncomfortable, and I think he makes Billy try to force the grappling. And even if he does succeed, I think he's going to gas out, which, he hasn't really been shown to ever do that. So it's kind of a weird thing to say, but I think that he's going to be able to get up if he gets taken down, stuff the takedowns even if he doesn't get taken down, and get separation and to win a point decision fight against Billy Q. Billy Q is very hittable. I understand he's on a 2-fight losing streak, guys, and even against Giga Chikadze, a very good kickboxer. It wasn't like he was getting killed in that fight. He got finished, but he just got caught, man. It was a good punch by Giga that hurt him and kind of stunned him, and he got finished from there. But man, I like Edson, man. Give me Edson Barboza, more experience, and not for nothing, he has a 5-inch reach advantage in this fight in what I expect will be a 15-minute striking fight. Give me Edson Barboza to win via decision. Up next, we have Ion Cutelaba versus Tanner Boser. This one's going to be a very interesting fight, guys. You have Ion Cutelaba riding a 3-fight losing streak, sitting as a minus 120 favorite. He comes in with a 16-9-1 record, 29 years old, 6'1", with a 75-inch reach. On the other side, Tanner Boser making the move down to light heavyweight from heavyweight, coming off losing to Rodrigo Nascimento, comes in with a 29-1 record, 31 years old, currently sitting as a plus 100 underdog, 6'2", with a 75-inch reach. Now, honestly, I think that Tanner Boser has no chance other than to knock out Ion Cutelaba, which who knows, he might. Ion Cutelaba, we have to talk about his fight IQ. It's very, very bad. He's coming off getting finished 3 straight times. And it's because he puts himself in bad spots. When he goes in for takedowns, which he is a good wrestler, he puts his head right into areas where you can just elbow him against the cage, or you can snatch up the guillotine. He doesn't have the best fight IQ, but he has that chaos to him. He fights in bursts. He's very explosive. On the other side, Tanner Boser, definitely not a heavyweight. Light heavyweight should be his weight class. I'm kind of surprised he went all this time fighting at heavyweight. He actually has very good experience overseas before the UFC. 29-1. He's fighting high-level guys. It's just that, guys, the big red flag with him in this fight is that he can't stop a takedown. If you're watching this video, there's a good chance you could take down Tanner Boser if you weigh probably more than 200 pounds. This guy has never been to a wrestling class ever in his life. He has no game off his back. He is white belt material. It's just that Ion Cutelaba on himself, he doesn't really have that good at BJJ. If he does get Tanner Boser, which I do think he will down, if he does get him down, like, what's he going to do? Is he going to just smother him and gather minutes on the mat? Like, is he going to just win minutes, or is he going to try and submit him or get a ground pound finish? I think it's going to be the second. I think he's going to try to find a ground and pound finish on Tanner Boser when he does get him down. But I think that Tanner Boser might be able to get up or even survive until the next round, which has to be looking at the over 1.5 rounds. I know both these guys are finishers, and both these guys get finished. With Tanner Boser, man, he's fought bigger guys, and the bigger guys are taking him down. I was talking to my buddy Johnny K. Picks, and he's like, yeah, he has, and we were talking about how, yeah, Tanner Boser has bad takedown defense, but like, those guys are way bigger than Ion Cutelaba. The speed, I think, is going to go to Tanner Boser, which is funny because he's coming down in a weight class on the feet, but the grappling 100% has to go to Ion Cutelaba, and for that reason, I am picking him to win this fight. Tanner Boser is just too bad off his back for me to pick him in this fight. I honestly think that he has no chance other than a check left hook. Give me Ion Cutelaba. Man, I gotta take a drink. Hold on. After that, We have Dustin Jacoby taking on Azamat Murzakanov. I have action on this fight as well. Dustin Jacoby comes in 18-6-1, sitting as a minus 205 favorite, 35 years old, 6'3", with a 78-inch reach. Azamat Murzakanov comes in undefeated, 12-0, sitting as a plus 170 underdog, 34 years old, 5'10", with a 71-inch reach. So right away, we got to talk about the betting line, right? The line right here on the screen that we just talked about has Dustin Jacoby as a minus 205 favorite, and he's been crashing the other way. Money's been pouring in on Murzakanov, the undefeated 12-0 Russian, and now Dustin Jacoby sits at minus 165, and that's where we took him for 1.8 units. I have 1.8 units on Dustin Jacoby to beat Azamat Murzakanov because I just think that he's a better overall striker than Murzakanov in what will be a 15-minute striking fight. Let's start with Murzakanov, all right? So big red flag was his Inchiguani fight, right? He was essentially losing the whole fight. He lost the first round, lost the second round, and then got the flying knee knockout and pulled it out of the fire and got the win over Tafon, where that was just a perfect example of bad fight IQ from Tafon, and he made him pay for it. After that, he kind of did have a way better performance against Devin Clark, which I will say he impressed me. He got that third round finish, and that's something you got to know about this guy. He's 12-0. He's only ever won 2 decisions in his pro career, so he's finished 10 out of his 12 wins. 34 years old, though. I don't think he's going to finish Dustin Jacoby. He's 5'10", the much smaller guy against Dustin Jacoby, 6'3", and Dustin will have a 7-inch reach advantage, guys. I just think that Dustin's going to be able to stay outside and pick this guy apart because Dustin's striking. I like him, man. He's a really good kickboxer. He ended up actually fighting Alex Pereira over in Glory Kickboxing and got knocked out. But yeah, man, I think that he has a way better striking, right? So if it wasn't for this Khalil Roundtree fight where he lost, he'd be on a way longer winning streak, right? So he's had 2 stints in the UFC, and he's been a cash cow for us, guys. I've been betting on him every time, and I bet on him the last fight against Khalil Roundtree, and we're going to get it back this week, guys. I think that he's going to be able to stay long, stay safe, and defeat Azamat, honestly. You could argue that he beat Khalil Roundtree, and I will argue that he beat Khalil Roundtree. Give me Dustin Jacoby. I know he's 35 years old, older fighter here. Taller, longer guy, though, with a better striking IQ. The grappling, yes, I probably will give it to Murzakanov, but I think that he doesn't have enough gas to do that for 2 rounds out of the 3. Give me Dustin Jacoby to keep this fight at range on the feet and beat Azamat Murzakanov for 1.8 units. Up next, we have action on this fight as well. We have Clay Guida taking on Rafa Garcia. Yes, you heard that right. Clay Guida is still fighting in the year 2023. And judging by that, you probably already know who I'm betting on. I bet Rafa Garcia at minus 220 for 1.25 units. Now, there's a couple reasons why this is not a bigger bet, and we'll get into it, right? So Clay Guida comes in 38-22, right? Sitting as a plus 180 underdog, 41 years old, 5'7", with a 70-inch reach. Rafa Garcia on the other side, 15-3, sitting as a minus 225 favorite, 28 years old, 5'7", with a 68-inch reach. Now, guys, I mean, I got to give Clay Guida his props, right? So I've been watching this guy since the beginning of my fan days, really, and he's been good to us, man. Whether we bet on him or bet against him, I've had a pretty good read on this guy's fights. Very good wrestling at this point, and it's kind of all he relies on at this point. It's just that the level of competition that he's beating isn't very good. I don't think that Rafa Garcia is a level of someone like Scott Holtzman. I think that Rafa Garcia has good enough grappling to equalize it from Clay Guida. Clay Guida, if he does get Rafa down, he's just going to have to accumulate minutes on the mat and win a decision that way, because I don't think that he has a BJJ to submit Rafa Garcia. And on the feet, I think Rafa Garcia hits way harder than Clay Guida, and maybe Clay Guida will have the more output, but I like Rafa Garcia on the feet here. And on the grappling, like I said, that's the one thing that Clay Guida really utilizes on his opponents to have inferior grappling. And I don't think that he has a huge grappling advantage over Rafa Garcia. Give me Rafa Garcia to win this fight, whether it be finishing the 41-year-old fighter or winning via decision. Give me Rafa Garcia in this fight. Sorry, Clay Guida, but I mean, I'll go and I'll bet against the 41-year-old fighter pretty much anytime, really. Give me Rafa Garcia, guys. And I'm doing it again. Give me up next. We have Pedro Munhoz versus Chris Gutierrez. I know Pedro Munhoz isn't 41 years old. He's 36, but I'm betting against him here too. Give me Chris Gutierrez at minus 220 for 1.25 units as well. Okay, let's talk about it. Pedro Munhoz comes in 19-7. Chris Gutierrez comes in 19-3. Pedro Munhoz is a plus 180 underdog. Chris Gutierrez, the minus 220 favorite. Pedro Munhoz, like I just said, 36 years old. Gutierrez, 31 years old. Pedro Munhoz, 5'6", with a 65-inch reach. And Gutierrez, 5'9", with a 67-inch reach. Now, both these guys, very, very prolific, good leg kickers, man. These guys will rip up your calf. These guys immobilize their opponents almost right away in all their fights. Pedro Munhoz, though, coming off that weird kind of ending against Sean O'Malley, that was 9 months ago. So he got like his eye scratched, I guess, seriously, and took all this time off, 9 months. Whereas Chris Gutierrez, he's coming out finishing Frankie Edgar, right? And so I'll be honest, guys. Yes, it was a good finish. Yes, it looked really good, but guys, Frankie Edgar was like 5,000 years old. So like, I mean, it's a good win and everything when it looks good on your record, nice highlight reel. But like, how much stock can you actually put him defeating a guy that's way over the hill and obviously not fighting anymore? Not a lot. And then before that, this fight was good. Against Batgral Danal, he looked good, right? He got that finish against him, and Danal's a pretty good fighter in his own right. So to me, this is the fight where we have guys going in opposite directions. We have Pedro Munhoz obviously declining, 36 years old, and Gutierrez ascending, man, 31 years old, and then he's on a nice little winning streak. It's just that Pedro Munhoz has way more experience, fought against higher level guys, and has proven to be very durable, right? He's never been finished in the UFC. I mean, I guess unless you want to count the O'Malley thing. And he's going to be there all fight. And like I said, this guy's leg kicks are very good. And the grappling is on Pedro Munhoz's side as well. He's a BJJ black belt, whereas Gutierrez, yes, he's grappling off his back isn't like terrible either, but definitely I think you can say the grappling goes to Pedro Munhoz. Man, 36 years old though. Give me Chris Gutierrez to win a decision here. It's gonna be a tough fight, a big step up in competition. Finally, an actual one though, because Frankie Edgar, in my opinion, was completely washed. I don't think that Pedro Munhoz is completely washed yet, but he's on his way. Give me Chris Gutierrez to win this fight. Up next, we have a featherweight fight between TJ Brown and Bill Algeo. TJ Downtown Brown comes in with a 17-9 record, currently sitting as a plus 150 underdog. He is 32 years old, 5'9", with a 73.5-inch reach. Bill Algeo on the other side comes in as a favorite. He is 16-7, and he's ballooned from a minus 160 favorite to a minus 210 favorite. So money's been coming in all week on Bill Algeo, and I get it. He's 33 years old, 6 foot with a 73-inch reach. So right there, you see he'll be 4 inches taller with the same reach. Man, so this is going to be a pretty good fight. And my best bet for this fight is the over 2.5 rounds. Both these guys are very durable. On the feet, I think they're pretty equally matched. With the stand-up, honestly, I'd probably give it to TJ. But I don't know if he's going to have that advantage in the later part of this fight. If it does go all 3 rounds, which I do expect it to do, I think that Bill Algeo will be looking good in that second and third round, whereas TJ will probably fade. The grappling, I expect to be initiated by TJ Brown in this fight. Both guys, I've seen them reverse on the mat. They're not really specialists anywhere. They're pretty well-rounded, both these guys. I like the strike from TJ Brown. He can put combinations together. Bill Algeo is pretty comfortable off his back foot, though, and he will be the taller guy in this fight. I think that his size and reach will play a significant part in this fight, even though he has the same reach as TJ Brown. I think that him being the taller guy at 145 is a pretty significant thing. A pretty even fight, man. At minus 210, that's way too wide for me. I'm not going to be betting him or parlaying him, but I do think that he's going to win a decision. So maybe if you want to take a minus 210 favorite and chop him down, because I don't know if he's going to finish TJ Brown. I don't see him knocking him out or summoning him. I don't see TJ Brown summoning Bill Algeo either, and I definitely don't see him knocking him out. Give me Bill Algeo to win a decision. I don't know what the price is on that prop, but I think that's his method of victory in this fight. I like the over 2.5, like I said. So give me Bill Algeo to win a decision. It's going to be a close fight, though. At minus 210, I'm not betting him. No way. Up next is a banger of a fight, guys. This is the fight of the night prediction right here. I think these guys win that bonus if it does go for however long it goes. I don't know if it's going to go all 3 rounds, but let's talk about it. We got Brandon Raw Dog Royval taking on Matheus Nicolau. Raw Dog Royval comes in with a 14-6 record, currently sitting as a plus 135 underdog. He is 30 years old, 5'9", with a 70.5-inch reach. Very tall and long for the division. On the other side, we have Matheus Nicolau coming in with a 19-2-1 record, and he's been ballooned from a minus 165 favorite to around minus 190, 200. So money's been coming on him as well. And I agree with that money coming in on him as well as the last fight. I agree. I think he should be the favorite in this fight. He's 30 years old, 5'6", with a 66-inch reach. So he will be the significantly shorter and have a reach disadvantage in this fight. And that might play a big factor here because Brandon Raw Dog Royval, man, this guy is chaos. He's the mini Tony Ferguson. I love watching him fight. And, granted, he's not the most skillful fighter and he's probably never going to be a champion, but he's gotten really close, man. And he's still young. He's 30 years old. Matheus Nicolau in this fight, probably is a better MMA fighter. He's probably the better striker and the better grappler. It's just that he's kind of low output, and he lets his opponents take that front foot. He lets them push him, and he's kind of more of a counter pusher on the feet. On the ground, he's a very good and experienced BJJ player. He knows what he's doing. He can find a submission on the ground as well, and he's pretty durable. Except for he's been finished in his only 2 losses. So he has 2 losses. He's been finished in both, which makes me like the under 2.5 rounds in this fight, guys. I saw it at -110, and I'm thinking about playing it. So far, I haven't pulled the trigger, but the way Brandon Royval fights is he makes it chaos, guys. He goes and he puts himself in bad spots in almost every single fight, and sometimes he's able to pull out the submission and save himself or get a knockout finish, but other times he's getting injured in the fight and losing that fight, like he getting hurt during the actual fight. It's pretty wild, man. So for him to be 5'9", fighting at 125 pounds, he's pretty frail, I will say that. And we've seen him hurt inside the fight, but there's a good chance this guy's going to be able to get ahead on the points and get ahead on the numbers, because I expect Brandon Royval to have the volume in this fight. I expect him to be the one pushing the pace and being one going forward, controlling the octagon, you could say, against Matheus Nicolau, where I think Matheus is probably going to be looking for that counter shot, which might come, dude. Brandon Royval throws enough, and he throws wild enough for him to put himself in a bad spot and get caught. It's just that it's kind of tough betting on a guy to do that and waiting for that one significant moment. As far as initiating the takedowns, I don't think that Brandon Royval will be getting taken down by Matheus Nicolau, straight away like a blast double or along the cage in the clinch. I think this is going to play along the feet, and if it does, I wouldn't be surprised to see Royval win a decision. I am picking Matheus Nicolau, as I do think that he's a better, more skillful fighter, but it's just that the stylistic matchup is going to be a tough one. Brandon Royval will have that size, he will have that reach, and he will have that pace. It's going to be a close fight, but man, I'm going with Matheus Nicolau. I am not betting him, but give me Matheus Nicolau to win this fight. It's going to be a banger of a fight, guys. I'm super excited for that last fight. Oh my gosh, and it's the exact opposite for this fight. This fight, you go ahead and take a break. Oh my goodness, I don't know how this is in the UFC, guys. Up next, we have a light heavyweight fight between Ed Short Fuse Herman and Zach Cummings. All right, Herman comes in 24-15, sitting as a +200 underdog. He is 42 years old, 6'1", with a 75-inch reach. On the other side, we have Zach Cummings, 24-7, coming in as a -250 favorite, 38 years old, 6 foot, with a 75-inch reach. Big thing with this fight is that Zach Cummings hasn't fought in almost 3 years. He hasn't fought in 2.5 years, and he got back surgery in between then and now. And so he's very frail. Like I don't know where he's at in life, and he's going up to light heavyweight, guys. He used to fight at middleweight, and now I don't know where he's fighting at light heavyweight. And Ed Herman, he's not good at fighting either, man. He's super old, 42 years old. I am not going to waste any more time on this fight. If you gamble on this fight, that's crazy, because both these guys aren't good at fighting. I don't know what to expect from either of these guys. The last fight that Ed Herman won was against Mike Rodriguez in a fight where he was losing, and he got saved by the ref, giving him the whole 5 minutes on a foul shot. And it's just, dude, this guy is not good. Also hasn't fought in forever. A super long layoff, 1 year and 8 months for Ed Herman. No way. Give me Zach Cummings. I think the crowd's going to be on his side. He's from that part of I think he's from Kansas City. So yeah, man, give me Zach Cummings. I don't know where he's at in life. I honestly thought he retired, and I honestly thought Ed Herman got cut. And I think both these guys might get cut. Loser leaves town, and also winner might leave town. Give me Zach Cummings to win a decision in a fight that I could honestly care less about. Up next, we have a women's strawweight fight between Piera Rodriguez and Gillian Robertson. Piera Rodriguez comes in 9-0, undefeated, 30 years old, sitting as a -110 pick'em. She's 5'3" with a 63-inch reach. Gillian Robertson, 11-7, 27 years old, 5'5", with a 63-inch reach. Now, she actually has been now bet all the way to a favorite. I know on screen I just said that she's a -110 pick'em, but she's all the way to -130 now. Money's been coming in on Gillian, and I missed it, man. I wish I could have got the plus money or even -110 on Gillian, because I think that she's going to win this fight via decision. I understand Piera Rodriguez is a very good prospect, man. She beat Sam Hughes. She beat Kay Hansen, but that's my issue, man. That Kay Hansen fight was way closer than it should have been. Kay Hansen is not UFC material. And yeah, man, you should be dominating someone like Kay Hansen, where I think Gillian Robertson would snatch up Kay Hansen and submit her very easily. Gillian Robertson's game, she's a very, very good grappler. I love when fighters go and they compete in those BJJ tournaments outside of the UFC, and Gillian Robertson actually did that, and she smoked who was it, Thug Rose, in like literally, guys, 1 minute. They had a BJJ match. I remember being like kind of annoyed, like, damn, I wanted to see a good match, because Thug Rose got embarrassed, man. She got taken down and just, her back taken and rear naked choke like within, I'm not lying, 1 minute. Her grappling's really good, man. Gillian's grappling's really good, and I think she's gonna be able to utilize it over the younger, inexperienced Piera Rodriguez. I don't mean younger in like years, I mean like experience in UFC. This girl's 9-0, hasn't fought as much in the UFC as Gillian. Gillian's fought way higher level of competition. And on the feet, I think Piera Rodriguez is way better. Well, I shouldn't say way better. I think that she is a better striker. A little bit more speed advantage probably going to Rodriguez. But give me Gillian, man. I think she's going to be able to win a decision, get this girl on the mat. And if not, finish her. I think that she wins, man. Give me Gillian Robertson in a close fight, man. And at minus 130, I missed the price, man. I'm not going to be, pushing anything or forcing anything. I do think that she wins at minus 130. It's probably a fair price, but I'm not going to bet that, man. Minus 130, I'm a pass. Give me Gillian Robertson to win via decision. Up next, we have a lightweight fight between Lando Vannata and Daniel Zellhuber. Vannata comes in with a 12-6-2 record, while Daniel Zellhuber comes in with a 12-1 record, having his perfect record shattered in his last fight against Trey Ogden. And bro, I am picking Zellhuber, but there is no way I can put my money on him. Let's talk about the tail of the tape. So Vannata, 31 years old, 5'9", with a 71-inch reach. Daniel Zellhuber, 23 years old, way younger, 6'1", with a 77-inch reach. So he's a younger fighter, taller fighter with a 6-inch reach advantage. Damn, the tail of the tape is really going in Daniel Zellhuber's way. But in his last fight against Trey Ogden, I'll be honest, he fought like he didn't know the rules. He fought like he didn't know he was supposed to hit the other guy and inflict damage on his opponent, because I've never seen. Well, I mean, I guess I've seen one because of that Kraus thing, but it's hard to really say I've seen fixed fights, but that fight looked like he just threw the fight. Like, it was the most insane thing, because he comes off Dana White Contender Series against Lucas Almeida, where he did get hurt and had to come back and win that fight. Showed good heart and showed he had a good chin, but he was a pretty highly touted prospect, and I had high expectations. And Trey Ogden's someone that, let's be honest, is a pretty mid fighter, and that felt like they were trying to give the Dana White Contender Series guy a pretty good matchup to win, and he came out and just laid an egg, dude. Vannata on the other side, man, he's had fought a way higher level of competition. He's been going up and down. I know his last fight was at 145, and he's going up back to lightweight because the weight cut was just too tough. He fought a good fight against Charles Jourdain, where Charles Jourdain's a pretty tough 145er in his own right. So I know he lost. I know he got submitted, but Daniel Zellhuber, I don't think that on the feet he's going to be just lighting up Vannata. I think Vannata will be able to stay safe, but I don't think that Vannata will be able to utilize his grappling. I feel like when someone's that tall and long, in your face, he's going to be making him uncomfortable. That's why I thought against Trey Ogden. So, Zellhuber is a prospect that kind of failed in his last fight, really, missed a big opportunity. So it's hard to trust him here again, especially as a favorite. He's minus 115 right now. I think I saw him at minus 120, minus 125 on some books. So money's been coming in slowly on Zellhuber, but Vannata, dude, the experience on his side. He's a pretty good striker in his own right. I don't expect him to utilize his grappling for 15 minutes in this fight. It's not really his game. And even if he does, I don't think that Zellhuber will be controlled on the ground. But like I said, every time I think something good about Zellhuber, I just remember how bad he fought against Trey Ogden. So, oh man, it's tough. Give me Zellhuber to win a decision, but this is a tough one. This is one of the probably closer fights on the entire card. I would not be surprised if Vannata wins this fight. Kind of reminds me of the Rosas Jr. fight from last week. But give me Zellhuber, man. Give me Zellhuber to win via decision. Up next, I am going with the underdog in this fight. We're talking about Bruna Brasil versus Denise Gomez. Bruna Brasil comes in 8-2-1, sitting as a minus 230 favorite. She is 29 years old, 5'6", with a 66-inch reach. Denise Gomes comes in 6-2. She is sitting as a plus 190 underdog, 23 years old, 5'2", with a 63-inch reach. Now, this line has actually moved. Money's been coming in on Denise, and she's all the way down to around plus 140. So, at plus 140, I'm not going to be getting in on it. I'm not going to be betting her, but I do think that she's going to win this fight, man, and I wish I could have got her at plus 180, plus 190 around there, because that's a good bet, dude. This fight should play out on the feet, where I know that Bruna Brasil probably is a better technical fighter on the feet. She has a very good jab, some very good kicks, very dangerous with her kicks, 5'6", so she's very tall, like taller and longer in this fight. Denise Gomes is going to have to find a way to get in and close the distance, and I think that she's going to be able to, man. She took a fight against Loma Luke Bumi on short notice, and she looked good, man. I'm a very big Loma Luke Bumi fan, because Loma Luke Bumi has very high fight IQ, especially on the feet, and that fight ended up playing a lot more on the mat than I expected. I had money on Loma, and I was sweating, bro. Denise impressed me, man. She's a tough girl, and she really uses her physicality well. I think that she's going to be able to out-grapple Bruna Brasil in this fight and win this fight. Give me the underdog, dude. On the feet, it's going to be tough, man. It's going to be a war, but it's going to be a close fight, and I think that Denise Gomes, the young 23-year-old, is going to get it done. Give me Denise Gomes to win via decision. That's going to be a banger of a women's fight, actually. I'm actually really, really pumped for that fight. Up next, we have a bantamweight fight between Gaston Bolanos and Aaron Phillips. Gaston is coming in making his UFC debut with a 6-3 record, currently sitting as a -180 favorite. He is 30 years old, 5'7", with a 70.5-inch reach. On the other side, we have Aaron Phillips, 12-4, sitting as a +155 underdog. He is 33 years old, 5'9", with a 69-inch reach. So I'm going with Gaston Bolanos in this fight, but I'm going to use this fight, I'm not going to bet it. I'm going to use it as a fight where I can just gain information, man. I want to sit back and watch Gaston Bolanos. I think that he's a talented kid, man. 6-3. I understand he's 30 years old, not really a kid, but he's been fighting in Bellator, other professional organization, but his level of competition hasn't been that great. But he is a finisher, man. He's 6 fights, 6 finishes, 6 wins, 6 finishes. Fighting Aaron Phillips, who hasn't fought in forever, man. He fought Jack Shore. He made his UFC debut. But for some reason, he hasn't fought Aaron forever. That's over 2 years ago. And we haven't really seen him since, man. He's a pretty good fighter, decent everywhere, pretty good striking, but he's a BJJ black belt, and that's what I think he's going to need to use to win this fight. So Gaston Bolanos is more of a Muay Thai kickboxer, and that's the one area he has shown to be very vulnerable in is the BJJ once he does get taken down. So I think that Aaron Phillips will obviously be looking to get this fight on the ground because Gaston's a very talented striker, guys. I love his striking, I love his kicks, I love his obviously spinning elbows. But yeah, it's like, who is he doing it against? It's tough, and so that's why I'm not betting it, man. I'm gonna sit back and watch it and enjoy it as a fan. And so yeah, man, I expect Aaron Phillips to come out and try to use a grappling heavy game plan, and I think that Gaston's gonna be able to keep it on the feet and then eventually probably knock him out. Give me Gaston Bolanos to win via knockout. I think it's the first finish I've predicted, or second one I've predicted this entire card. After that, we have a banger of a women's fight. Now I'm just playing. Jocelyn Edwards versus Lucy Pudilova. Jocelyn Edwards comes in 12-4, sitting as a +125 underdog. She's 27 years old, 5'8", with a 70-inch reach. Lucy on the other side, 14-7, coming in as a -150 favorite. She is 28 years old, 5'8", with a 67.5-inch reach. And this is going to be a striking fight, man. This is going to be a 15-minute striking battle where I'm going with Edwards, man. I'm going with another underdog to win this fight. I just think that she's going to have enough volume and kicks to win a point fight against Lucy. So Lucy, she should be able to win the grappling in this fight, or sorry, I should say have the better grappling in this fight. I don't know if she's gonna be able to push this fight along the cage and get her down, because in the open mat, I don't think that she's gonna be able to shoot on Jocelyn Edwards and get her down. Jocelyn Edwards is a pretty big girl, man, and in her last fight, she came in and missed weight. Or no, sorry, 2 fights ago against Ramona Pascual, that was a catchweight fight, and she looked enormous. So Ramona kind of had no chance in that fight. Her last 2 wins are honestly against fighters that probably aren't UFC caliber, so it's kind of tough to really have a ton of confidence in this fight. And that's one thing. In her 2 losses right here against Jessica Rose Clark and Carol Rosa, she was getting taken down so easily, man. And obviously, if someone's trying to look for a 15-minute striking fight, you're going to want to take her down and put her in a realm where she's uncomfortable. And I expect Lucy to at least attempt to do that, but I don't know if she's going to have success, man. I think that Jocelyn Edwards is going to be able to keep this fight standing, and when she does get pressed along the cage, to be able to reverse positions. I love me some good judo throws, and I don't know if Lucy has that strength to toss Jocelyn Edwards, who I think is a pretty big girl in her own right, dude. It's a pretty evenly matched fight at +125. I think that's a fair line. I'm not going to touch it, and I'm just not that confident, man. I don't want to be sitting there with no ticket on Jocelyn Edwards money risking on this fight, because women's MMA fight, I think it's pretty even. Could go either way, man. And at that point, you're kind of trusting the judges. Who's going to have the more volume? I'd probably go with Edwards. Who's going to have the more power? Probably go with Pudilova. Yeah, man, give me Jocelyn Edwards to win via decision. So with that, guys, I'll go through really quickly my picks, and then I'll go through my bets, man, because we have a good amount of bets so far. And then later in the week, I'm going to release my official bets video. So thanks so much, guys. Do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and really quickly, we'll go through the entire card, top to bottom. Giving my speed picks, I guess. We have Max Holloway, Edson Barboza, Dustin Jacoby, Ion Cutelaba, Chris Gutierrez, Rafa Garcia, Bill Algeo, Matheus Nicolau, Zach Cummings, Gillian Robertson, Daniel Zellhuber, Denise Gomes, Gaston Bolanos, and Jocelyn Edwards, guys. And now it's time for the most important part of the show, our official bets for UFC Kansas City. So far, we have 4 bets, and they're all moneyline straight bets. Our first one, we have a 1.25 unit bet on Rafa Garcia to defeat Clay Guida at -220. After that, we have a 1.25 unit bet on Chris Gutierrez to defeat Pedro Munhoz at -220 as well. And after that, we have a 1.8 unit bet on Dustin Jacoby to beat Azamat Murzakanov at minus 165. And then we have a 2 unit bet on Max Holloway to defeat Arnold Allen at minus 180. I think we're going to add 1 or 2 more bets, and I think they might be totals. So make sure you follow us on Instagram and on Twitter. So I'll tweet those out if I do end up making them. And I am going to make an official bets video on Friday. So be on the lookout for that. Other than that, man, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about these bets. We're approaching 200 subscribers, man. I really appreciate the support. We'll see you guys next week. Let's make it 4 straight winning week, guys. Peace.